YouTube, what's good? It's your boy, Paulus Harris, aka Crazy Uncle. Hey, guess what? It's your first time tuning in. Go ahead, hit doggone subscribe button, hit notification bell every time I post some new content. Uh, Today's episode brought to you by Boy Pie. Good fact, this is not them doing this. This is just me doing this. So, but in either case, hey, look, go get your can. So, which for the most part, actually, really, really blends in to what the fuck I'm actually talking about here. So, a few weeks back, y'all know I did the shit with Charlie Kirk and everybody like, blah, 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 blah. Happy that this man died because of how he felt, because he spoke on how he felt about certain issues. And then for the most part, right, I didn't really find anything that he said that was um, that out of the ordinary, right? Because I tend to look at this situation the same way that most black folks look at the word nigger. As long as it's actually really being said amongst ourselves, right, then there's no problem. But it should have been a problem because the late great comedian Richard Pryor said, "Hey, guess what? We never was no niggas. So why are you actually like really trying to accept something and try to make it into something positive for the most part?" Well, but that's neither here nor there. So here it is that here comes Charlie Kirk, and then for the most part, right, he's a product of okay. He done looked at everything or mostly everything that happened before he was born, and then did his research, right? And then he started asking questions. And so, for the most part, right, with the so called conscious black folks, right? And this is what the fuck happens. This is what the fuck happens when you get a person or people, and no, I'm not clowning anybody right now, right? But once the message, do your research, right? You have to look at that the same way that you look at rain. When rain falls in your area, right? It put like this. It doesn't hit certain people. It doesn't hit certain houses. It hits every person that's outside, and it hits every house, everything that's within that rain cloud or clouds over a particular city. So when you sit up here and you feel like, okay, look, I got enough information, some new information, and then you show it, right? And then you like, hey, do your research. Don't you know that the motherfuckers is hearing? Don't you know that they are listening to the same thing that we're actually really listening to? Not the city that I'm calling them motherfuckers, but they hear it too. And then they do research. And then for the most part, right? We could be like, okay, Charlie Clerk heard this from me, heard this from this guy. He heard it from that guy. He heard it from a whole bunch of motherfuckers. And then he did his own research. And then off of the research of what we may have put out there, right? Then he started asking questions. But then you get motherfuckers like D.L. Hewley who don't know shit, right? Deion Sanders, he another one. Well, we already put like this. We've already Dion told us what the fuck that he was about back in the 90s when he did that song Must Be the Money. Right? So all of that shit what he did as head coach down at where what Jackson State or whatever where the fuck he was at, right? Did it good, did it well. But Colorado said, hey, guess what? We got more money for you. And he left. I mean, great the fact he probably said that the folk down there in Jackson State really wasn't doing good about his money. So when you look at that, when you look at that, and then when you look at what the folk Charlie Kirk said when he was talking about the motherfucking, as he will call African Americans, right, or black people. And for the most part, if you actually really stop and think about it for a minute, out of all of this shit that he might have been smart in, that was the one subject that he was severely weak in because for the most part, right, we're not black people. We're not African American. Shout out to Dane Calloway that actually really started pointing that stuff out. So so when you look at it, and then when you get motherfuckers like Tariq Nasheed, right? Because I'm pretty sure he probably had some shit to say about it or whatever. And then he old, put like this, he old fake ass Dane Calloway. Plain and simple. Right? That's the only reason why a lot of times he raises hell about a whole bunch of shit. And I'm pretty sure there's some other motherfucking YouTubers out there. And I'm not going to actually really talk about who the fuck they are, right? But hey, look, that's no, I remember watching the Dukes of Hazzard back in the day. So y'all take that for however the fuck y'all want to take it. Right? But my whole deal is this. People getting fired because of how the fuck they feel. And I already know I'm probably finna go against, well, I'm not gonna go against of what I actually really said, because well, actually, I'm not going against what I said. I'm just actually really be like, okay, so this guy died, or so-called died, because of how he felt about certain things. But then, as they say in the NFL, right? After further review, after what I've actually really heard, motherfuckers be like, okay, well, he shot, so where's the exit wound? Where's the blood from? How come blood wasn't sprouted? It just shot out like motherfucking water hose, right? Which, for the most part, okay, why would it shoot out like that? I get it. It's the main artery, right? But for that shit to shoot out like water, hey, it is what it is, right? Unless this motherfucker had like severely high blood pressure. But in either case, no exit wound, and then, I mean, great the fact, ex snipers, ex-snipers and came in, and I'm not gonna sit up here and say that they confirmed like the hand signs and everything like that, but to actually like, put it like this. I'm gonna call bullshit on it, and which I called bullshit on it on previous videos. The average soldier, right, regardless, regardless of branch, you should be able to take out a meter. I mean, take out a target 300 meters. Now, whatever that is in yards distance, then y'all figure that shit out, right? And so, if you could actually like really hit a target at 300 meters without nobody coaching your ass, then what makes y'all think that this bastard in the hat was doing this with his hat, doing this with his nose, or wherever the fuck? Y'all actually really think that that motherfucker actually really needed that? I mean, I did this shit a while back, right? And if my math is, my math may be a little bit off, but I want to say that 300 meters without a scope. Matter of fact, I want to say that that's more than 150 yards. That may be close to 100. That may be close to 200. I'm not really, and my apologies. And then for anybody that actually really knows this shit, you know, correct me on this, but I really want to say that 300 meters on an M16 range is more than 150 yards because the maximum effective range of an M16, I want to say, is 800 meters. So he could have got this guy with an M16 if his eyesight was good enough. But here's the deal: whether this guy had a scope or not, which for the most part, right, if it was anything, put like this, if it was anything less than 300 meters, and for the most part, I ain't got my numbers together right now, but my whole deal is this: if 300 meters is more or less than 150 yards or 140 yards, yeah, you really don't need no scope for that shit, right? But then again, you still gotta doggone take in consideration that for the most part, a 300 meter target is gonna stay up. It's not gonna move. You may have anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds to actually really hit that motherfucker before it go back down, right? But for the most part, Charlie Kirk, he's a live target. You really don't know when this motherfucker gonna move to the right or to the left, right? So for the most part, right, if you actually really go back and look at the footage, when he did all that shit, right? Okay, hopefully that I didn't do it didn't fuck up too much, right? But my whole deal is, it's like, okay, you gotta take just go back, look at the footage, right? And then be like, okay, was this shot actually really possible? And if everybody's like, ooh, 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 I'm glad he did. And supposed to be so-called Christian. Supposed to be so-called Christian. Y'all motherfuckers going to hell. Because you celebrating this motherfucker. I'm about to call him motherfucker, but y'all celebrating his death. And we really ain't too sure this motherfucker is dead. Okay? We really ain't too sure if he's dead. Because I'm going off of, and as this, in the NFL, right, what they said, after further review, right? No exit wound. Let these motherfuckers tell it. And then, I just thought of something right fast, right? And for those of y'all that actually really have the technology, right? Let's go back to the year either 1986 or 7, right? When the very first RoboCop came out. Clarence Boddicker, right? They out there at the steel mill, right? And so RoboCop about to do his thing, right? And so, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and then I'm gonna go find that damn clip, and then I'm gonna actually I can't put it here, but I will put it on my motherfucking Facebook page. So in either case, right? They dump all that shit on him, right? And so he come, drive that shit in his chest, right? And then he says, Sayonara, 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 RoboCop. And then what did he do? That big ass spike come out of his motherfucking fist, hit him in the jugular, right? And then what happens, right? It wasn't a constant stream like how it was with Charlie Clark, but squirt, squirt, squirt. That shit didn't actually like really fall out like it was. It was like with a water hose. Now, great the fact, and then it was two of them. It was two streams, right? I mean, but I'm just like, okay, instead of it like gushing out like a water hose, how come it wasn't like gush here, gush here, gush here, gush here? Instead of it actually like really just coming like a straight water hose, right? Since everybody is like trying to figure out, okay, was it a shot? Was it a bullshit shot? Okay, exit wound, whatever, look, whatever the case may be, right? But then again, right, to act, to be that damn accurate, and I said this in my previous video, to be that damn accurate, right? Where it shoots out like a water hose like that. And then no backblast. What some people are saying, yes, it's extremely questionable. And then, just like what I said, go back and watch the previous videos that I did of this, right? You know, far as I'm concerned, far as I know, right? Snipers, so-called, I'm not gonna call them so-called, but for the most part, right? If caught in time, right, you can stop that shit there, right? So you almost got to actually like stop and and ask yourself, okay, hey, look, you old radical, rational motherfucker. So we're gonna need this security. We're gonna need people involved just in case some shit happens. So it's almost like, okay, well, where was the motherfucking security? Where were the medics? Where was all these people? Right? So again, me personally, great the fact I actually really didn't come out and say that I don't think that he died like right then and there. It's like I know I didn't actually really just come out and say it, but I'm actually like really coming out and saying it now, right? Charlie Kirk is not dead, right? But then again, you know, you gotta look at it like this. Okay, well, why would you fake a motherfucker's death? But then again, this is something that has been happening forever and a day. If you actually really stop and think about it for a minute, right? This is what motherfuckers do. This is what grown ass folk do. This is what grown ass folk do that's in power. They lie. They lie about a lot of shit. And every once in a while, they'll throw us a bullshit bone. Right? But then when you actually really look at the bone, and when I say bone, I'm talking about money. Money ain't been shit since 1971. So what the fuck are they actually really throwing us? Dust. And then motherfuckers be like, okay, what the fuck you talking about? Well, hey, look, it don't take a genius to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about. I might put it in a way that you may not understand, but then again, if you can't understand it, guess what? You never got it in the first place. Now with that right there, I know I fucked up a lot of people. But in either case, y'all know a bullshit story when y'all see one. And so let's just say for shits and giggles that the most high, according to some of y'all, right? We're in the end of days. So let's just say for shits and giggles that the most high orchestrated this just to see how you motherfuckers would act. Because not that I'm trying to downplay the most high, but let's just say that he needed confirmation to really single you motherfuckers out. For all of y'all that actually really celebrated this man's death, he can actually really look at y'all and it's like, guess what? Domino motherfucker on every last one of y'all. Y'all already know where the fuck y'all going. Right? See, what happens is this, and I already know everybody got their own view about this, but the thing about it though is this: if I was the Heavenly Father, which for the most part I ain't even got to be the Heavenly Father, I'm an earthly father, and I've done this to my kid just to see how he would react. And he reacted the same way that I thought that he would. End result, he got punished. So for all of y'all that actually really didn't come out and say it, but you tap dance, you in that area for me to actually really pull the grenade and throw it, not at y'all, but in the vicinity, because I already know how powerful that goddamn grenade is. So guess what? Y'all better truly hope that Yahweh, when he threw that grenade, that for the most part, that it was a dud, but it still hit you. And he said, see that? I could have got you, but I didn't. But I'm going to log it down. So you go ahead. Keep celebrating somebody's death because your ignorant ass really don't know what the fuck is going on. He asked questions. But then again, for everybody that's firing people because of how they feel, y'all just as fucked up as them. Because apparently y'all didn't watch all of the CEOs for like this. Whoever that's actually really firing people, guess what? Y'all didn't watch the Crazy Arcus video. Because if you would have watched the Crazy Arcus video, I was saying this shit before anybody else came out and said it. I tracked it. But I get it. Everybody ain't trying to hear from the Crazy Uncle. Because the Crazy Uncle is nobody. Right? But just know that this same nobody is the main reason why a lot of this shit is out right now. Go back, watch my previous videos. What did I say? What did I ask? I want to see the motherfucking weapon. I want to see the weapon. Did it have a scope? Did it have a scope on it? And then what happens? Everybody want to come out with a motherfucking weapon with a scope on it. Here come all of the motherfucking ex-army, ex-marine, anybody that actually really know how to shoot a weapon. Right? All this shit comes out after what the fuck I said. Now, if somebody actually really said it earlier, prove it to me. But just make sure you put a time date on the video that I did. Just like that. I'm not asking for shit, but for the most part, acknowledge what the fuck that I put out there before anybody else did. Because it's like to name me one person that put shit out the way that I put it out before anybody else. Because what the fuck I'm seeing right now on YouTube, this shit is like 5 days ago. Put it like this. The latest that I've seen was 6 days ago. And then you go back and look at I did that shit right when it happened. Right? I was calling bullshit then. So for anybody that has to put like this. Now, if it all came out at the same time, okay, I won't say shit else. But I'm almost ready to believe that for the most part, before anything else happened, before anybody else started saying shit, I was the one that actually really brought up the whole thing with the scope. Right? Now, if I'm delusional, okay, I got it. But I'm almost at that point right now that, okay, I was the first one to say, and then what the fuck else did I say? It's going to be some more shit that's coming out about this guy. Come to find out, and then what happened? Come to find out, he old alphabet soup motherfucker. Right? So, hey, look, and please don't look at me like, okay, well, hey, he giving these motherfuckers ideas. Ain't nobody came to me. It's just that I have a vision that a lot of you motherfuckers don't have, and you will never have, cause y'all that damn stupid. Damn it, old motherfuckers. So, with that being said, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your dad, tell your birthday, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your papa. Motherfucker next door across the street around the corner, Paulus Harris, aka Crazy Uncle. And just know, I will always stay the crazy uncle. Ain't nobody finna tell me shit to say. Unlike the rest of these bastards that are actually really in the game. Remember, people, I only got 75 subscribers. So y'all already know I ain't making no money. I got all the money that I motherfucking need. And then, even if I was to start making money, I ain't gonna keep it. I ain't gonna keep it. I'm getting to the motherfuckers that actually really need it. Cause I'm already secure, motherfuckers. Till next time.